Hi guys, I'm Shayda and today I have another illustration tutorial for you. We're going to be doing spring themed illustrations, so let's get started. Okay, so today I'm going to be working with my mechanical pencil, a few markers and pens. I have some Sharpies, some Staedtler Triplus fine liners, and a few Prismacolor art markers. And then I'm just working on cardstock because it's cheap and it stands up to the markers really well. So the first thing we're going to draw is a little chick in an egg. So I start by making the egg, and it's just this sort of half oval, and then I give it a jagged edge. And then for the chick's body, he's just sort of this lumpy shape. So you can see here I'm making the head a little smaller, but he really is just this sort of lump, and he's quite cute when he's done. I'll go over this in my Pigma Micron pen so that you can see. So he's got this lumpy body, and then here the egg is the half oval with a jagged edge. Doesn't need to be perfect. And then we'll just give him a little face, and I like to do two beady eyes and then a diamond shape with a line across it to form the beak. Okay? So that's quite easy, and I think he's very cute. And then I finish this. I can make this illustration, simple as it is, into a card just by putting a little hand-drawn border on it. And then I'll put my title or my greeting inside the border. So I'm just writing, well, hello, because he's sort of coming into the world out of the egg and he's greeting us. And then I'm going to finish that border. Whoops, I missed the edge, but it doesn't matter. So I'm also going to finish my cursive lettering here by thickening each downstroke to form that faux calligraphy style of lettering. And if you need more info about that, I have a video all about it, and I'll link it in the description below. And then I'm going to color this in, so I'm just adding a little gray art marker there to add some depth to that white egg. And of course I'm going to make him bright yellow because he's a cute little chick, and that's what it looks like when it's all done. Pretty darn cute. Okay, so now let me show you how I would draw sort of just a chick who's out of the egg. So I'm going again with that sort of lumpy shape because I just think it's so cute, and it certainly does not need to be perfect. I sort of slap some little wings on the sides of him there. And then here, when I do these faces, this is really the fun of being the illustrator. Playing around with your illustrations allows you to really represent this however you want. So look what happens when I make his face really small. All of a sudden he looks like he's so fat. He's got this disproportionate head and neck. And here I'm adding some little eyelashes and a larger beak, and he sort of looks like this motherly, wise newborn chick. And here's another one here, lumpy sort of round body, little wings on the side, and this cute little face with the eyelashes. So the next thing we're going to draw is a watering can with some flowers in it, and I'm going to start by sketching this with pencil. I apologize if it's a little faint, but I will go over everything with my Pigma Micron. And here I'm just sketching out the shape. I sort of do an augmented S shape to form the handle, and then I do this upside down sort of cone shape for the body of the can, a few little angled lines coming off to form the spout, and then the head of the spout there is a simple shallow oval so that it looks sort of three-dimensional. And then you can see I'm going around my sketch with my artist pen, so I've had time to sort of work on the shape of this can, and then once I get it looking the way I want, then I go back in with my pen. And I'll also add some lines here for a little bit of shading and depth. A few little circles on the spout to make it look even more like a watering can. And then I'll add these very abstracted flowers. So you can see here, I'm not trying to get this perfect. Again, this is the job of the illustrator. You get to pick how closely you want to represent things. And right here, I just felt like doing this very loose interpretation of what flowers are. And then I'll go back in with my pen, add a little more cross-hatching and line shading. And once I'm done that, I'll actually, I guess I'm going to add a few more flowers there to even that out. And then I'm going to come back in with my gray marker, and you can see here the way I move the marker helps me to add that shading to the can. So it's not just about the color. You can see there on the spout, I do this sort of horizontal lines to represent that shadow that's underneath the arm of the spout there. And that really helps to bring this illustration to life and make it pop out of the page. And then adding color to these flowers is what's really going to help your viewer know what they are. So it's not about making these perfect flower shapes. It's all about representing things the way you want to, and then just giving your viewer some clues so that they do know what it is. So here I'm going to make them nice and bright and colorful. And even though they're not traditional, necessarily floral shapes, you're going to know that this is a watering can full of flowers. And then of course I'll finish it with my hand-drawn border. I'm doing a bit of a double hand-drawn border here. And then I'm just going to put a little greeting right underneath the watering can to finish that off. And I'm just writing Mayflowers to make this cute little sort of personal greeting card. Okay, all done. So next we're going to do a little April showers umbrella. Again, you start with that half an oval, and then you can finish the hem of the umbrella any way you like. So you can do a sort of concave or a convex scallop. It doesn't matter which one you prefer. I'm doing, I guess, the concave. And then you're just going to put a little handle on there and thicken it at the bottom. Maybe add a little shadow along the handle, and then I'm just going to put some puffy clouds in behind and a few little tear shapes for raindrops. And this is sort of a very cartoony, very simple card. And I'll even put a little smiley face on one of the clouds. And then I'm going to put my greeting on this card in a flag or a banner at the bottom. So I'm just going to do a rectangle in the center as best I can. And I'll add those two little flags at the end. And then I'll put my April showers greeting in here in a nice cursive font, and again I'll thicken on the downstroke to create that faux calligraphy style. I'm going to color this in, adding just a little bit of gray to my clouds, but keeping them somewhat white for a little bit of relief of negative space within the card. And then I'm happy with what I did here. Instead of doing a border, I've created a border with color. So I'm filling in the entire card with blue. These chisel tip art markers are really great for doing a color fill like that. And then the border is formed by the negative space that surrounds the illustration. All right, next we're going to do some insects. I'm going to start with a butterfly here. I think a butterfly is really more of a fall illustration, but when I looked up spring, it was all butterflies and bees, so I thought that's sort of cute. We'll do that. Butterflies I think are quite simple. You start with a little body in the center, which can just be the shape of a sort of cylinder, and then make some little wings. They do not have to be symmetrical, and I always just do some lines inside the wings to represent the design that would be on those butterflies' wings. Give them a little antenna and you're all done. Next we're going to do a bee. The bee I love. He's sort of a torpedo shape. And I'll go over him in pen here. So he's this torpedo shaped, or think of a sideways balloon. And just give him two little wings. They can be any shape. I give him a very simplified face, two little semicircles for the eyes. You can put some stripes on him, make them as fat or as thin as you like. He's got his little stinger on his bum there, and I just give him a very cartoony face. Okay, and next we'll do a ladybug. So the ladybug is a semicircle, and he's got just his tiny little stick feet, and then you give him another circle sort of stuck onto that semicircle for his head. I'll go over this in pen here. So semicircle or half circle with a circle for the head, two little antennae. You can give him as many little stick feet as you like. And then I just added some circles, and he can have as many circles. You could make them very small. I made them sort of fat and silly. And then again, you can give him any face that you like. So think about what sort of personality you want him to have or what you're trying to represent. And I ended up going for quite a cartoony look with those sort of googly eyes. And that's what it looks like when it's all done. You can add some extra lines to the bee's wings to make it look like he's flying. And just a light touch of blue on those wings will also help bring that illustration to life. Okay, so lastly today we're going to do a spring wreath, and we're going to put a word through this wreath. So I always start with doing the circle first, and it does not have to be perfect. You do not need to trace a bowl or a plate. So make this sort of imperfect circle, and then you're going to write your word through it. Take your time with this. It doesn't need to come together right away. Get it looking the way you want in pencil before you go over it in pen. Go over the word first, and then you're going to come back in and finish off the circle. Anywhere the word is not, you can, keep that black pen line going around. And then you're just going to add little pairs of leaves all along those circular lines, or the lines of the circle. And you can break them up and do different leaves. You can keep them all the same as if it's one continuous branch. What I'm doing here is making it into sort of 4 little branches. And then I just go back in once that's done and add some little flowers, very simplified floral shapes, maybe some berries, some more leaves. You could do some little rosebuds. If you want more info about drawing flowers and berries, I'll link that video below as well. And then of course you just come back in and color it in. You could use anything here. I'm just using my Sharpie markers and my Prismacolors, and I like to do the greens a few different colors, but that's what it looks like when it's all done. So here what I've done is I've transferred that same image onto watercolor paper using a bit of graphite transfer paper and tracing paper, and then I've finished it with watercolors and a Sharpie pen. Okay, thanks so much for watching today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the spring illustrations tutorial, and I hope you have lots of beautiful spring weather in your life to go along with it. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next week.